steamy day here is the front end of a CFL and TSN doubleheader for you on a wonderful Saturday. McMahon Stadium plays host as the Alouettes look to keep things rolling. It is Marshall Ferguson alongside Dwayne Ford. Claire Hanna down at field level for us here throughout the afternoon. And the receivers are going to play a big part in this ballgame, Dwayne. They always do. We wanted to highlight one off the top who threw a touchdown last week. Pretty special from Tyler Snead.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a guy who's been overshadowed, obviously, by the ridiculous season being had by his teammate Tyson Philpott. But Tyler Snead is averaging close to 100 yards a game. And as you said, that's not all he does within this offense. And another guy who's come up big for the Calgary Stampeders, terrific free agent signing, the former Toronto Argonaut, Jean Brissett. 4 touchdowns this season on only 13 catches.
There is Dave Dickinson as he is closing in on the century mark when it comes to victories as the Stampeders head coach and trying to get his team on the right mark. And you know this guy always has his group locked in. That is Jason Moss, of course, the head coach of the Alouettes, as we are underway here in Calgary with a ball that is fading near the sideline, won't be touched. An excellent starting field position for Davis Alexander.
Of course,
illegal kickoff, Montreal. First down, Calgary.
At quarterback for the Montreal Alouettes.
Sorry, legal kickoff, Calgary. First down, Montreal.
Davis Alexander, everybody. Davis Alexander continuing to battle what we can now call a chronic hamstring injury, but making the start here again today. Back-to-back games against these Calgary Stampeders. Off to a terrific start this season. 8 touchdown passes, yet to throw an interception in 2026.
The Alouettes triumph 37-30, based primarily on committing no turnovers in a 24-point first half against the Stamps last week, as Alexander wrapped up and brought to the turf on the very first snap of the ball game here, looking for the fullback, Jacob Mason, as we get a look at this Montreal starting offense.
Yeah, and with Justin Lawrence out long-term at center. Another veteran, Cyril Auguin-Saint-Non, out of Laval, makes the start again at center. Cole Speaker returns to this Montreal Alouette lineup, as if that skill group didn't already have enough going on. Another veteran receiver added to the mix.
Speaker was on the 6th game with an ankle injury, year 5 with the Alouettes. 13 career touchdowns. We'll see if he adds to that here this afternoon. Beautiful, picturesque afternoon as Alexander operates on second down, checks it down to Travis Tice, who knifes and gets the first down and more into Calgary territory, and Tice off and rolling.
You get into a bit of a second and long situation, anticipate kind of wanting to avoid that check down, but look at how the middle opens up as the Stampeders drop off. Easy decision for Davis Alexander. Relatively easy first down picked up for Travis Tice.
At 19 yards, right down the middle. Davis Alexander taking plenty of vertical shots, but going underneath early on. He goes once again. This time it's Marco Dubois. And Dubois gets pushed out of bounds by Damon Webb, the free safety, coming all the way down on the big man out of Laval as we look at this Calgary defense.
Yeah, and Calgary is going to lean on that defensive line a lot today, and that's a group led in the interior by Jalen Hutchings, one of the top interior guys in the league. Veteran group at linebacker. Kyle Wilson came over last year from Hamilton to solidify that will linebacker spot. Zai Alexander, 3 interceptions on the season. On a Calgary defense, Dave Dickinson needs to turn that ball over more.
Try to get extra possessions for Vernon Adams Jr. Always dangerous as the inside handoff here on 2nd and short. And it will be close. They'll take a look at it. I was talking to somebody in Calgary, Dwayne, this morning, who essentially said, man, it's 29, 30 degrees today. The boys aren't going to like that. And I said, well, the offensive line, Mike, because it might slow down this crazy Calgary front trying to get after Alexander.
Yeah, exactly. Alouette offense gets into that tight end look, fullback in the ball game, flatten out the defense a little bit, force them to defend some more gaps.
You know it's officially July when we can see the heat waves rippling around Jason Moss on the sideline. And that's not him being angry at anything. There's nothing to be frustrated about so far. Might have wanted to pick up the first down on 2nd and not have to play on 3rd down, but they will, as it is just shy of the first down marker.
Good momentum thus far for Montreal, so obviously striving to keep that going. Dustin Crum, the #2 quarterback, on to look after this 3rd and short situation.
Crum's been so reliable here in Alouettes red, white, and blue. Hammering away in the short yardage package. And he gets an opportunity early on, opening possession as Calgary won the coin toss and decided to defer. Montreal driving the field, but trying to stay alive here as Jason Moss has the best seat in the house. And Crum leans forward. And we'll get to the 30 as we take a look at Davis Alexander and his last couple of games against Calgary, going back to 2025, and then of course last week in the victory.
Yeah, I guess at this stage of Davis Alexander's career, nobody is surprised that he won both of those games. But over 300 in both. As mentioned, he's on a pretty good roll in terms of taking care of that football.
Alexander hands it off to Travis Tice, who has room and runs through 1, now 2 tacklers and a 3rd, and they can't bring Tice down. It's not a big gain, but what power from Travis Tice. You can hear the pads popping right at the line of scrimmage, and Tice explaining eloquently his work after the play.
Well, as you said, this isn't a 100-yard dash or anything, but I think I've just witnessed my favorite rushing play of the 2026 season to date. Travis Tice lowers the shoulder, a little help from his offensive lineman on that one, but just to show it wasn't a fluke, I'm going to brush off the linebacker here too.
Into the score zone they go. Flags fly on the snap as Tice cuts it back into the end zone. Touchdown Alouettes. And we'll look at the flags. But Davis Alexander celebrating and believes that it's going against Calgary.
Too many players. Calgary. That penalty be declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
1 drive, 1 touchdown. And the Alouettes pick up right where they left off after scoring 37 points and having that 24-point first half last week.
Travis Tice, 94 yards on the ground a week ago. You talk about people picking up right where they left off. A tremendous start for the Alouettes running back here this afternoon.
25-year-old out of South Dakota. Making easy money on that drive against the Stampeders defense that will go to the tablet and try to make some adjustments, sort things out, slow down this Alouettes attack as Montreal controlling the temperament of this game early on. The ground attack, punching it in for the early lead. It's in 3:58 and Travis Tice, all love, into the end zone he goes.
Yeah, the man of the moment, and this is poetry in motion if you like O-line play. Look at the footwork in perfect unison up front. They get him flowing. Donnie Ventrelli in at the left tight end spot, shifts from his guard spot out to the left tight end spot, washing things down. Tice doing a nice job pressing the point of attack and then cutting it back as the defense over pursues.
Calgary gets their first opportunity to touch the football. They will. Deep in the end zone is Vernon Adams Jr. 14 touchdowns, no interceptions. If you would have told me that at any point in VA's career over the last half decade to a decade, I would have said, that's crazy. That guy throws interceptions all over the place.
High risk guy, right? High risk, high reward.
Not anymore.
Speaking volumes about how Vernon Adams feels playing in Pat Delmonico's offensive scheme.
PA was in a groove here against the Toronto Argonauts back a couple of weeks. Hanging 6 passing touchdowns and a rush for a major as well. They go to the ground attack here, and Dedrick Mills running hard, maybe inspired by the work of Travis Tice as Dedrick Mills goes for 13, surrounded by this Calgary offense.
And up front, young and growing offensive line. Dante Demery is at the left tackle position as usual. He's become a fixture at that spot. The receiving core, Eric Brooks, a guy who started off primarily as a return man here in Calgary, now finds himself tied for the team lead with Jalen Philpott with 21 catches here in week 7.
Brooks given that opportunity. The injury to Reggie Beggleton is still waiting to get Reggie back in the Calgary lineup as VA Fakes the run, now pitches it outside and incomplete. And he'll face second and long as we look at the defense lining up here against the Calgary Stampeders.
And up front on that defensive line, David Perales, big game last week. He is out with an injury, opening the door for Kylan Guidry to come in at defensive end. Of course, Jeffrey Cantin-Arcu starts at middle linebacker. And Nate Beauchemin, University of Calgary product, in his first year as a starter, taking over from Marc-Antoine Dequoy, doing a fine job at safety.
Adams Jr. looks left, rips this one on target. And it's close to the 50-yard line, gain of 8 on 2nd and 10, as Clark Barnes gets his first touch of the ball game.
Barnes lined up out wide on this one, going to clear out a little bit of space, and he'll tuck underneath those two inside receivers. Good job rallying to the football, as you can see there, for the Montreal Alouette defense to stop him short.
Joel Thorpe always emphasizing trying to get there, also loves being able to get a turnover on downs as they dig in on a long 3rd and 2, and you hear, don't do it, don't do it. And the Montreal defense holds strong.
Time count violation. Calgary number 19. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Quincy Vaughn playing the role of decoy that time around as they try to draw Montreal offside to get a cheap 1st down, but the punting unit hits the turf.
As we are in punt for field position territory on the field, essentially, Calgary Stampeders sort of feeling from that spot that they had nothing to lose, essentially.
This one high, drops into the end zone, trying to angle it out. Wind swirling a little bit here at McMahon.
Needed a bigger penalty.
Yeah, exactly. Legs bigger than the penalty, unfortunately, that time for the Calgary Stampeders. We will take a quick break and come back here, clean up the flag on the other side as Davis Alexander back on the turf, completing 73% of his passes last week against this Stamps defense. See what he has in store today when we return.
Zed is brought to you in part by The Score Bet, an official gaming partner of the CFL.
Welcome back to McMahon Stadium. Davis Alexander ready to go to work once again, as there were some penalties essentially offsetting in the break. And after the kick out of bounds, get an opportunity here to see the Montreal Alouettes offense as Travis Tice, already with a touchdown, gets wrapped up down low. Kyle Wilson, good job slowing him down as Davis Alexander chasing some pretty major history. One of those accomplishments that you might think kind of goes under the radar because of how long it takes to accrue this level of excellence. But, man, this is something special that we're seeing today, that he might actually pass Darian Durant.
Yeah, Davis Alexander, a guy who has demonstrated early in his CFL career, he is all about these successful streaks. And this is the latest, and a pretty impressive one, to say the least.
Alexander on 2nd and 5. Looks over the middle, and once again it's Tice taking a big hit, and it's Wilson all over him once again at the end of that play. And it will be shy of the 1st down marker, just a gain of 3 yards, but taking a little crossing route here from the running back.
Yeah, you'll see Travis Tice. Quick release here, duck in between levels as the D-line gets upfield, linebackers drop. But Kyle Wilson doing a terrific job tracking him, stepping up to make a play and forcing this punt situation. Stampeders get off the hook a little bit, by the way, as that punt, and with penalties, etc., only a 9-yard shift in field position.
Now Joseph Zima tries to flip the field as well. 49-yard punt and a decent return for being chopped down at the end of the play, as the Calgary Stampeders defense standing tall early on, turning Travis Tice back inside, but the Alouettes lead 8-0 early on. Adams Jr. is his work from last week, a place that he used to call home. A couple of touchdown passes to Dejon Brissett, and using the legs to get open as well. Feels like he's just kind of playing flag football all the time, doesn't it, right? It's like a little pump here, a little roll there, and then use the legs, and then flick it across the body. And when he is on, as he has been this year, he makes it look so easy.
Well, he does seem to find that perfect balance between, as you alluded to, you know, sandlot football and executing the playbook.
This time they go with a little pop pass, turn it back inside, big slam down at the end of that play. Jeffrey Kenton, our coup, finishing off Jalen Philpott, who, by the way, in-house they introduced Jalen Philpott as part of the starting lineup here today. And there was an audio pop from the crowd. Amazing the amount of support the Philpott brothers have, but Jalen gets his first opportunity to run the football, something he does significantly more than Tyson in his CFL career.
A University of Calgary product. Played on this very field with the Dinos.
VA looks left and over the middle, high, incomplete. Kenton Arcou right there chasing down Eric Brooks, and it hits the turf.
Yeah, Brooks underneath on the crosser on that one. I almost wonder if he lost sight of it, perhaps coming out from behind that offensive line. Just had a little bit of trouble tracking it.
And you might think, because of the size difference there, that Kenton Arcou might have been in a bad spot if that was a catch. He's very fast. Yeah, big body, extremely quick. Interesting hearing Mike Alouette talking about the kind of Venn diagram of linebackers they have here in Montreal as flags fly and the ball drops down for Montreal possession. As Tyrell Richards injured on the last special teams snap, and not in on that last one either, but Tyler Sneed back to work for the Montreal Alouettes as the often overlooked diminutive receiver out of Eastern Carolina, putting it down in Alberta here today.
Calgary.
Grey Cup together in 2023, and you know what, throughout their careers they've really been 1 and 2 with the Montreal Alouettes in terms of receiving yards. And so before this game I asked Tyler Sneed what his relationship is like with Tyson Philpott. He said it's super competitive, so competitive actually that they have a bet with each other this season, a friendly one, on who can get the most yak yards. That's yards after the catch. Now right now it's interesting because Sneed said, you know what, we both feel like we're really shifty players. We both really we feel like we are not players that are easy to tackle. Now, before this game, Philpott had a 90-yard advantage, and I spoke to both of them. Sneed's a little salty that he's not up higher, and Philpott's pretty confident he can do that this season, guys.
Thank you, Claire. Appreciate it. As Davis Alexander gets popped at the end of that one, and they'll count it as a sack, unable to get it away, probably for the best to not take the penalty yards there on what looked like Alexander's just trying to dump it into the turf. But yards after the catch, hugely important for both those receivers, and it's got to get out of the hand of DA first.
We talked about the importance of that Calgary front in terms of getting after Davis Alexander, keeping him in check. Well, the front gets a little bit of help on that play from DB Anthony Johnson to clean it up.
Coming in from the corner position as Faloran Arimolade digs in alongside Clarence Hicks. As Alexander gets it away, soft zone coverage, and they'll allow him to throw it underneath. Adrian Green back in the lineup here for the Calgary Stampeders as Tyler Sneed does make the catch and gain a chunk of yardage, but it won't be enough. Joseph Zima ready to come back out.
Yeah, second and extra long situation. Obviously the defense able to sit off. They'll allow that completion. Just make sure no bodies are getting in behind you.
You gotta admit that week 1, when you were doing the CFL and TSN kickoff game in Hamilton, I was kind of upset that nobody knew the answer to your trivia question about.
You'd have known.
I was watching at home. You said, who led the CFL in interceptions last year? Canadian kids. Adrian Green, one of them. As this one skips out of bounds inside the 15-yard line, and well, they might be real brothers, Dwayne, but that doesn't mean they're not going to dress up like stepbrothers. Once in a while, with an opportunity, you give the Philpott brothers a little bit of spare time when they're in Montreal, and there's a good chance they're going to get up to some form of tomfoolery.
You can't go wrong imitating one of the greatest dramatic movies of our time.
What do you mean one of?
Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, got nothing on these guys. The Philpott twins.
And 22 members in the Philpott crew. Here you see them in the stands there, the J&T t-shirts. Great to have so much support. As As the inside handoff here, Dedrick Mills puts his head down, driving the legs. It's amazing as well because for the Philpott brothers in both markets, rightfully so, they are looked at as being homegrown heroes. Like you see people wearing their uniforms and being celebrated every time they end up on the Jumbotron, all the rest. It makes me wonder, not that I'm trying to move them or trade them or free agency, but it's like, what the heck would that look like if they were on the same team?
Well, you know, I'll tell you, we had a good chat with Jalen this week. And I asked him if he was much of a hockey fan, and asked him if he had followed the journey of the Ruck Twins. This year's NHL draft, 2 Twins, both chosen in the first 2 rounds by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Right away, Jalen, hockey fan, knew exactly what I was talking about.
As a corner route here, incomplete. And look at the way Jalen Philpott is the coverage supplied by Robert Kennedy III. But was he in because of hockey, or is he just up on twin culture?
Well, I asked the question, obviously, because of twin culture, but big hockey fan, as you can imagine. The Philpotts from BC, very familiar with the Sedin twins. And Jalen kind of noting, you know, the Ruck Twins drafted by the same team, the Sedins drafted by the same team. Pretty cool that the 2 twins get to play for the same team. I don't know if this is maybe foreshadowing down the road, but both these guys obviously pretty valuable where they are here in 2026.
I've been guilty for a long time in the CFL of just trying to speak things into existence. I love that they're both having success where they are, but that would be such an interesting dynamic if they ever get the chance, as a 38-yard punt and being returned around the cornerback. Mario Alford is picked up after being in Hamilton early on in the preseason. Football's biggest prize is on the line as Spain takes on Argentina in the World Cup final. Tomorrow at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Watch live on TSN, CTV, and Crave. That Messi guy's okay, huh?
He's not bad at soccer. You know, I mean, you called it football's biggest prize. We all here, of course, know football's biggest prize is the Grey Cup.
That's true.
You know,
but
I mean, the soccer's biggest prize.
Canadian football's biggest prize is having Claire Hanna back on the sidelines from the World Cup. She was covering Argentina. She was stalking Messi. They kicked her out of camp. Benjamin LaBrosse makes the tackle after a gain of 5. Great to have Claire back with us on the sidelines as the World Cup concludes tomorrow. There's Claire wandering around. There you go. Welcome back, Claire. 2nd and 5. Alexander against the 4-man rush. Looks underneath. Nice little shake and bake from one Tyler Sneed to get open and pick up the first down.
Yeah, making it look easy, but this is a nice adjustment to the football. Short pass, meaning you've got less reaction time, but manages to kind of get the body half twisted there, pull that one from behind him. There you see continuing to get upfield, move those sticks for the Montreal offense.
One of those option routes that you see a guy just casually run when they're warming up and you go, oh, you're different. You're always going to be open. Alexander knew that, as now he's trying to get them organized. With 7 seconds left on the play clock, flip the formation. And Alexander pumps, looking for the home run shot. Now to the outside, and it's Tyler Sneed. What nice design on this one, Dwayne.
Yeah, you get to see the routes working at different levels. Nice read, nice touch here, Davis Alexander. Directing traffic, making sure he's got everybody lined up where he needs them. Just a terrific route by Sneed to kind of freeze Webb to the inside before that outbreak. A little bit of telepathy that goes on between he and Davis Alexander, it seems.
That head shake kind of said everything's open when I want it for Alexander as he tries to hide the football. This one now goes across the field and overthrows it. Amazing ball fake that time from Davis Alexander. Drew the defense in, but off the mark.
And almost felt as if he may have drawn them in just a little too well, as it felt like he needed a split second more. As you're going to see that pass rush get upfield, he's sucking them in, everybody's coming forward. Sneed on the go gets in completely behind the defense. I think Davis Alexander, as I said, had to let that one go with the oncoming rush. Just a split second before he would have liked it.
The need for Sneed continues on this drive. He's getting all the work. See if they go to him here on 2nd and 10. Alexander over the top. It's Cole Speaker back in the lineup. And back in the end zone as Montreal extends their lead.
Oh, welcome back, Cole Speaker. Lined up out to the left, right. He's going to run that corner route. Tyler Sneed, by the way, part of the protection scheme on that one. Perfect shot from Alexander to Speaker on this one, using all of the depth of that end zone for that completion.
Extra point coming from Jose Maltos Diaz. As he knocks it through the uprights. It strikes me, Dwayne, how many games we had at the start of the season. Pouring rain, wind. And you see a day like today, you go, this is where we get to see what the quarterbacks and receivers can really do.
Yeah, perfect conditions.
It is a hot, speedy track. And Cole Speaker and the Alouettes taking advantage here as they continue to rack up the points in the Stampeders defense. It started on the ground with Travis Tice and into the air. Cole Speaker as the Alouettes lead here in Calgary. The numbers after 1 quarter of play, 15-0. The Montreal Alouettes take the early advantage here on the road at McMahon. Just 1 first down in that first quarter. In the field position as well, kind of slowly chipping in the direction of the Montreal Alouettes as they're getting more and more comfortable, obviously, in this game, Dwayne. And now the question becomes, if you're the Calgary Stampeders, they have an identity defensively. What can they do to slow down Davis Alexander? Because he's in a rhythm already.
Yeah, and the thing I fear, quite honestly, is I look at this from a Calgary defensive perspective, is Montreal has done a lot of double tight end stuff, extra offensive linemen in the game and so on. They played physical football, heavy football. It's hot down on the field today. And you've got Montreal getting a little bit of a lead going in this ball game. You think about them with an opportunity to keep handing the ball to Travis Tice, who's physical, keep putting the big bodies up front. We know, for example, Marquette Lee has battled the flu this week. He was a game-time decision at middle linebacker for the Stampeders. You're going to be fighting hydration issues. You don't want to fall behind if you're Calgary.
No, definitely. Try and throw their way back into it. I mean, if there's one guy who can throw you into a game real quick, it's number 3. But you definitely don't want to fall into too much of a deficit as Vernon Adams Jr. with a chance at the start of the second quarter to atone for that 1 first down first stanza.
Yeah, and honestly, in a lot of ways, as much as you want to rely on the arm of Vernon Adams, I think you want to put the ball in Dedrick Mills' hands a little bit here and run the football and slow this thing down as well, because part of the deal for me is if Vernon Adams throws a 70-yard touchdown pass here, that doesn't help your defense get a break. It would be great for the Calgary Stampeders. I don't think they'd turn it down, but I think they want to slow this one down.
See if they control the tempo a little bit as VA almost pulled the trigger 2 or 3 times. He gets back to his 5th and 6th read. Had all day to throw that time. Is stood up and knocked back by Micah Awe, linebacker, finishing off the play. But look how much time VA has to process here. Look at that protection.
Yeah, max protection versus just a 4-man rush. Quincy Vaughn in at tight end, there to help out up front. A lot of double teams going on across the front. But with only 4 guys rushing, means you got a lot of guys in coverage against not a lot of receivers. They're tough to get someone open, as you can see.
And again, Joffrey Canton-Arcou ends up being in coverage on the receiver that is targeted. It was Jalen Philpott. As Montreal shows pressure, they'll send it. And Calgary tries to run right into the brick wall of Noel Thorpe's steel trellis.
Very dramatic presentation. But here you'll get a look at the work of that steel trellis. Najee Murray at that nickel linebacker spot. Strong side, slashing down off the end to make a play.
I think that's Noel Thorpe just putting the spike into the steel door right there. As Montreal defense tries to do their part and get the football back. Blitz coming from the secondary. It's Calgary Dino. Nate Boschman doesn't get there in time and throwing away from it. It's incomplete, but a flag is down in the backfield. Had a little bit of everything on that snap.
Yeah, Boschman came free on the blitz.
Holding, Calgary number 54. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Good recognition of what was happening. You're going to see Boschman coming. Top right corner of your screen, 23 free on the blitz. Coming off the edge, VA knows it's coming. You've got the safety out of the mix. Getting man coverage. Got to take a shot. That's how you're going to get them out of that aggressive defense, is to try and make some big plays against them.
Najee Murray in coverage on Jean Brissett. As they'll hook this kick. Started right, came back left. And drops down after 53 yards to Mario Alford. Special teams unit right there to make the play on a steamy Saturday in Calgary. With the hometown Stampeders looking to get up to speed and on the score. Tricky. These Alouettes, Dwayne, you just never know. Jump pass.
Well, ball in the hands of Tyler Sneed. We've seen him throw the rock before, but how about this one? Little flea flicker. That one to me feels like it is from the Vernon Adams, Kahari Jones days of the Montreal Alouettes. But, you know, creativity is rewarded in the Canadian Football League.
And fearless play calling.
Yes, sir.
As well, right? Not being scared of any down distance situation, field position. Trying to be smart, but also being willing to challenge the other team. If you actually go back through and look at the flea flicker specifically, not just from last week, but from the Alouettes and how often they've called it,
yes,
it's basically like calling outside zone for them. They run the flea flicker more than any team in the CFL. It's basically a base play for Jason Moss.
I was going to say, it is no longer a trick play. The day one install at training camp, the flea flicker.
Yeah, Jason Moss and Anthony Calvillo are like, guys, flea flicker? All right, we're good? Yeah, that's the install meeting. You know what you're doing, right? We're good? All right. Well, empty out Tice here as Alexander steps up in the pocket. Pumps, then goes outside. Tice with room to run, gets the first down. They'll convert on second down and a massive hit. Flags fly. Benny Sapp the third. Caught Tice off balance.
Benny Sapp the third may be seeking a little bit of retribution for Travis Tice having lowered the boom on a couple of his teammates earlier. Comes up and runs support on this one. But as you can see, they're on the white stripe when this contact occurs.
Calgary number 45. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Gotta admit, I don't know who they were playing against, but that is reminiscent to me of a guy I played with in university, Wayne Moore, when he was with the Montreal Alouettes. Yes. I believe with one of the Lacumbos coming downhill, caught him that day. As Dave Dickinson, infuriated, as they called shoulder to the head. And a simple drop off this time for Jacob Mason, who's got room to run down the sideline. Philpott becomes a speed bump. Jacob Mason on a bit of a bust, running free down the sideline and throws out the wings. And Dave Dickinson still questioning the previous play.
As we'll take a look at this one, Jacob Mason lines up as the tight end on this play, and I can speak from experience, tight end, fullback type, sometimes they just don't account for you as a receiver. And Mason kind of gets lost in the coverage on this one. Is left wide open. 34-yard gain. The McMaster product.
And that's bigger than any gain he had in 24 or 25 in the receiving game. Is now Alexander across his body, makes magic and goes to Steve for the major. Davis Alexander. Geared down, looked to his right, flipped back to the middle of the field, which they tell you to never do as a quarterback. Well, unless you're Davis Alexander.
Yeah, all kinds of time for this one on Alexander. You see a little scramble, buys himself that time. Tyler Sneed working opposite his quarterback on the scramble. Gets himself open. Over pursuit by the defender allows him to find Pater.
And his assault on the record books continues to pile up. This time Alexander adds another touchdown to the 2026 campaign. Tyler Sneed on the receiving end, and Davis Alexander, a little wave for the Stamp sideline.
His touchdown count. Keep an eye on number 85 on this one. He starts off looking like he's blocking as they're running kind of a fake hitch look here. But as he gets upfield, because his back is turned at the moment, for Sneed, usually as his quarterback scrambles right, you're expecting him to work back this way. His back is turned. He doesn't know Davis Alexander has scrambled yet, so he's turning the other way. But the funny thing about these two guys is Alexander, he just kind of knows that Sneed's going the other way. Lofts the ball to him in the middle of the field. Scramble right, dish left, touchdown.
4 plays, 94 yards in just 2 minutes and 10 seconds. 22 zip. The Alouettes impressive on the road here in Calgary. Tyler Sneed just kind of wandering around, getting lost. And Vernon Adams Jr. just 3 completions so far in this ball game. 23 yards, stark drop off from what we saw last time he was here, putting up those massive numbers against another East Division club, the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, they could sure use some of those TD passes right about now. Maybe wishing they had kept a few in the bank, but you get to this point in the ball game, still a ton of time left in the world of Canadian football, obviously. But you wonder if Calgary starts pressing, trying to get points back all at once.
Working the pocket as Vernon Adams Jr. gets hit, trying to throw, and drops down to the turf incomplete. Was that Najee Murray that was in the backfield? Good to see VA up onto his feet. That was a big hit as he floated around the pocket.
Yeah, big hit as he was in a vulnerable position as well, completely opened up as he's trying to launch this one deep, just as we talked about, you know, trying to make a big play, get some points on the board, and just gets cracked just as he sort of opens himself up to throw that one. You just worry about the shoulder, as you would appreciate Marsh as a former quarterback taking a hit in that position.
That's a scary one. You don't see guys pop up from that kind of hit to that arm exposed very often, but good to see VA there. Now he slides down, backpedaling, and Montreal is all downhill here in week 7.
Yeah, this is an extension of what we talk about, second and long situations, but basically you get into what becomes for the defense obvious passing situations, and that for a defense is their dream, right? Ears pinned back, we're not worrying about the ball being run. They're all over him, and this is kind of the situation, not just in terms of down and distance, but in terms of score that the Calgary Stampeders find themselves in.
A big booming kick from Mark Bassett. Returned after it skipped over the head of Mario Alfred, the returner. As we get a shot of beautiful Calgary, Alberta here as their Stampeders down 22 midway through the second quarter.
Beautiful view of the Rocky Mountains, which on a clear day you can see easily from Calgary. And if you can believe it, that was an influence for Jalen Hutchins, who really likes playing here in Calgary. Now, of course, being a Texas boy, his dream growing up was to play in the NFL, but a tear for his meniscus in his senior year really made it tough for his pre-draft. And then he balled out with the Stampeders last year. 8 sacks, putting him 5th in the CFL. But then when he got a tryout with the Minnesota Vikings, well, that was hampered by an MRI. Now, you're seeing right now some video of him snowboarding. So when he didn't get the chance with the Vikings, well, he got a chance to really embrace Calgary. You saw that video. He almost took out some kids while he was snowboarding at Lake Louise. But he said he's really embraced the mountains, everything about Calgary. He meshes with this team. And so he wasn't angry when he got released by those NFL teams, guys.
I'm terrified just with the concept of a defensive lineman sliding down a hill at speed.
Well, 300 plus pounds with the pull of gravity. Yeah, Jalen told us he took a bit of a flop on that one for the safety of the kids and himself.
Mass times velocity equals force, I believe, as Alexander under pressure, backpedals away from it. Now DA looks downfield, and Tyson Philpott on the receiving end, skips out of bounds in Calgary territory.
Hey, Davis, how's your hamstring? I'd say pretty good. Couple of great escapes on that one, and then throws an absolute dart to Tyson Philpott for a massive gain. Little back pedal away from Flo, sprint to the outside, lay it up on the run. Unfortunately, Sapp got just enough of Philpott to force him out of bounds near midfield. Nonetheless, another massive chunk for the CFL's receiving leader.
We could have had an all-timer there if Philpott doesn't get pushed into bounds, as Alexander was up against his own upright, and then it almost went for a touchdown. And now he goes one-on-one, and it's Tyson almost halted it with one hand over the top of Adrian Green. We've seen the circus action from number 6 this year, and that one just inches away.
And obviously this game being played in Calgary, but where Tyson's going after this football is near where the Philpott contingent is sitting in the stands. I think the stands might have absolutely exploded had he come down with that football.
So jealous of the Philpott crew, because no matter who's on offense, they get to watch one of them.
There you go.
They're just cheering for points. 5 for 8 on second down, the Montreal Alouettes. Blitz coming right down the chute. Alexander has to backpedal away from it. Looks like Clarence Hicks was almost free down the middle as they call incomplete. There was no whistle officially. Now Tom Valesi, our referee, does finally blow it dead.
We'll take another look. There's Alexander feeling the heat. Didn't have another big escape in it.
Yes, I put it down. Intentional grounding, Montreal number 10. He lost it down, third down.
And Alexander pleading his case. But Tom Valesi losing the down, so the Alouettes franchise quarterback will head to the sideline after this. Just trying to set up the screen, Dwayne, but...
Yeah, he does have a receiver sort of headed in that direction. You can see the convoy starting to form. Not to say he wasn't throwing it away, but there was a receiver in that vicinity.
You ever feel like sometimes intentional grounding is more about body language than... they see Davis chucking it away, and they cost him on that one. As the Alouettes kick it away.
The final round of the Open tees off tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Pacific. Catch the action live from Royal Birkdale on TSN, CTV, and Crave.
Well done.
Well, you know my love of golf. That's golf, right?
I think?
Love me a windmill hole.
Hanging out in the crowd. Wonderful golf weather here, but all football today as the Stampeders go through the air. Jalen Philpott makes the grab. And Tyson just missed out on having a couple of big highlight plays, and Jalen goes back to his workman-like approach.
Yeah, just a quick hitter here for Philpott coming out of the slot. We'll see him fight through as he brings that one in just shy of the first down marker, but fighting through the tackle to move those sticks.
Tyson resting and recharging for now. Awaiting his next opportunity. It was just the third first down of this first half for the Calgary Stampeders offense. They get 7 here, setting them up with a very manageable 2nd and 3.
Yeah, and I'm fully on board with not kind of falling into that trap when you're down by a few scores in the early portion of the ball game of trying to go deep. You can't get it back in one play. You've got all kinds of time. Don't abandon the run. Dietrich Mills is a pretty darn good offensive weapon. You know, don't fall into the defense's trap, right? Of allowing them to pin their ears back. Run the ball short, quick hitters, develop confidence and rhythm.
And another big run. They go with the ground attack once again. And Dietrich Mills quickly through the line of scrimmage. Looked like they snuck a little extra blocking over the left-hand side here at the last second.
Yeah, Quincy Vaughn coming from the backside on that one. As a puller, short yardage quarterback into the game as a tight end. Dietrich Mills, nice burst upfield for 24 yards into Montreal Alouette territory.
Christian Kanu making a big block 2 plays ago, the right guard out of Washington State. And the offensive line up and pop. That time is now a screen set up, punched in the air, almost intercepted. First time we've said his name today, Tyrese Beverett. Always somewhere close to the football and might have been able to just bring that one down himself, but punched it in the air and it hits the ground.
It's a man with an absolute nose for the football.
Oh, it was Goudry actually. Got the hit on it, but I think Beverett would have had it.
Yeah, I think Beverett might have been thinking INT. But Guidry got the fingertips on that one, tipped it up in the air.
Beverett drops out into coverage, and into that area goes Clark Barnes. Makes the catch at around the 40. They'll give him the 39-yard line, 2 yards shy of the marker on 2nd and 10. And Dave Dickinson staring this one down will send out Quincy Vaughn.
Yeah, Calgary. Nice kind of bounce back drive here. Chipping away, and Dave Dickinson no doubt wants to keep that momentum going, try and get some points on the board as the clock ticks down in this first half.
And they break the huddle, but we hit the 3-minute warning. And so they'll blow this play dead.
It's a 3-minute warning.
Week 7, the teams are still getting used to the 3-minute warning being right at 3 minutes. Don't negotiate. Whistles blow. And Calgary trying to extend their drive and get on the scoreboard before half when we return.
If Davis Alexander's hamstring isn't right, I don't want it to be wrong.
I don't want to be wrong.
Great job. Thank you.
You got to say roll silver, too.
Back to you. Roll silver.
Halftime coming up with Kate and the panel. As Vernon Adams Jr. looking to throw here on 3rd down. And a few. They let VA in the game, fake the run, and with a donut on the scoreboard, a couple of Boo Birds ring out.
We talked earlier about creativity being rewarded here in the CFL. Stampeders go aggressive here. Double tight formation, trying to sneak in the pass. That one doesn't work out, so the goose egg remains for the Calgary Stampeders.
And the danger now obviously becomes momentum swing going into halftime. Keep in mind, Calgary did win the coin toss. They deferred, so Montreal took the football. Expect the Stampeders to begin the second half with the rock, but right now they'll watch it get snapped into Davis Alexander's hands. Inside handoff, Travis Tice makes the first man miss, running free into the secondary and tackled just across the 55. A gain of 17 yards before Damon Webb finished things off.
Great cut right there by Travis Tice. Little lateral step. Beat the defender. Looked like Flo Rimwade into the backfield in a hurry on that one.
Webb trying to get the back end of the Stampeders defense organized as Alexander looks left, rips it back right, and it's Tyler Sneed on a screen. Solid pickup there as well. Another first down on first down. The underneath throw, but well designed as always.
Yeah, well designed, well executed. Watch the offensive line get out in the convoy in front of Sneed. Quick block, throw their men upfield, get out in front. And a good job by Sneed really recognizing where his blocks are coming. Sometimes for receivers, there's an impatience to get upfield in a hurry, but brought that one all the way inside around that last blocker before getting it north-south.
Alexander pumps, doesn't see the rush coming from behind, and somehow got back on top. Valerna Rimolade has had a difficult first half. Travis Tice ran through him at one point, got popped off the ball in a big running play earlier on, but this time comes freer on the backside, and no idea for Alexander that he was there.
We have talked for years about Flo having the best bend, ability to dip the shoulder, get low, come around the corner. Best bend in the CFL. And demonstrates it there, getting to Alexander in a hurry.
The strength of Alexander, even if he did just fall down onto the football, to recognize how quickly it was out, pretty amazing. And it gives them 2nd and 18. And again, all day underneath this time. On the check down. Stampeders defense all over it. And Kyle Wilson waves to the sideline, says, let's get off the field and give our offense another opportunity.
Some veteran guys leading the charge for the Stampeders defensively there as they try to get back in this one. Fularo Narimulade. Kyle Wilson coming up with big plays back-to-back to force this punt situation. Stamps will go 2 returners deep, make sure they can field this one in the air.
Send back Tyreek McAllister alongside Eric Brooks as they snuck the 2 returners on very late in the play clock. It's McAllister after a 41-yard punt. They do cover down and spot the football at around the 16-yard line, but a tough half for the Calgary Stampeders. They look like nothing could stop them against the Toronto Argonauts. Up and down the field they went relentlessly, and today it's like driving through mud.
Well, just getting some consistency. They've demonstrated flashes. We've seen some plays, I think, particularly in the run game. I mean, from my perspective, obviously 3 scores with over a half to play in the Canadian Football League. No need to abandon Dedrick Mills in this football game, particularly when Montreal wants you to throw the ball.
Definitely. He's been their most explosive option so far as Dejon Brissett. Pair of touchdown catches in the game last week that featured these 2 teams. High-scoring shootout with Montreal winning 37-30, and we get a look at Brissett just settling it down.
Yeah, quick hitter, try and push the defender off a little bit. Coming out of your stance, get what you can.
Vernon Adams Jr. That one, an absolute rope. And the short side of the field, Clark Barnes on the receiving end.
VA making a quick decision, sees a little bit of room for Barnes. Can't hesitate with the distance that ball has to travel out to the sideline, so he puts a little heat on it.
RPM is high on that one from the right hand of Vernon Adams Jr. Montreal shows their pressure look. Bail out of it. VA over the top, looking for Jalen Philpott. Got him! Inside the 40. Wrapped up and thrown down. But Jalen Philpott, with twin brother Tyson watching on the opposing sideline, gets the biggest play of the ball game for Calgary.
You see Jalen Philpott again. Coming out of the slot, use that waggle. Just one move and gone. VA, you mentioned that pressure look, but they ended up only bringing 4, but I think VA kind of decided pressure's coming, I'm going deep.
Well, it came this time as a big rush was on, and Vernon had to get rid of it extremely quickly as Brooks, the intended receiver.
Certainly a little bit of heat this time around off the fingertips, with Wes Sutton bearing down.
1 for 7 on 2nd down for the Calgary Stampeders. VA hard count, sees the coverage and throws into it. Complete for Robert Kennedy. It is Brooks, not deterred by the last play, and a big hit as well that he took from Wesley Sutton.
Holding, Calgary number 57, 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
And they will go backwards despite the gain. It's Christopher Fortin on the flag.
We'll take a look here, the 2nd-year man. Obviously obscured there slightly by his quarterback, Vernon Adams. But ends up in a one-on-one here with Mustafa Johnson on the nose. Somewhat unenviable position for any blocker.
Johnson is likely to make a mess as anybody in the CFL from that nose position now, with Micah Johnson retired and working with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Used to be the master of that is Evan Jones. Big tackle, and Johnson flying out from defensive line to make the play.
Well, the Stampeders denied an opportunity to put some points on the board just after the 3-minute warning as they turned it over on a third down gamble. Here will trot out the field goal team.
Missed opportunity, you feel, right? Before the half, the momentum downhill.
Bit, right? But they've responded well to the adversity they have faced here. Being turned away a few times, but still battling here to put themselves in field position, scoring position.
McIntyre knocks it through the uprights and onto the scoreboard. With 27 seconds remaining in the first half, go the Calgary Stampeders.
Just a field goal to some, but big given the way this first half has gone for Calgary to get those points on the board, put together a couple of pretty productive drives to move the football, gain some yardage, maybe build a little confidence on a day where nothing has come easily.
Feels like for either team, their best plays, their biggest momentum changers tend to come when there's a Philpott making a catch at some point in the drive. As Tyson back on the hot turf at McMahon Stadium.
Well, they're playing along with the script.
Never shy to step into the limelight are those two. Here's Davis Alexander as he hands off Travis Tice, and a red wall right there waiting for him. Clarence Hicks, like he was the first to make contact in the backfield. Ongoing dialogue with him and Tice throughout the day, and now Montreal backed up, 2nd and 6.
It's funny to see different personnel packages coming into the game. Usually you kind of see a couple of guys, but mass changes here as the kneel-down team comes onto the field for Montreal to get out of this first half with a 19-point lead.
Philpott might have wanted to be aggressive. He plays the safety on offense for that snap as they kneel things out. And for the Montreal Alouettes, you mentioned off the top, Dwayne, they've got an embarrassment of riches, including Tyson Philpott, Tyler Sneed. But now they've got Cole Speaker back into the rhythm as well, as down in the score zone, taking the vertical shot to him and getting the big major early on.
Yeah, Cole Speaker, a guy who has had a history of big plays in this Montreal offense, has grown with the group when you think about the collection of youngsters: Davis Alexander, Tyler Sneed, Tyson Philpott, Cole Speaker. Definitely a big part of that mix, and he is now on the sidelines with Claire Hanna.
Cole, your first game back since week 1 when you suffered that ankle injury. You score a touchdown. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, I felt really great. Just be out there and contribute to the offense. And all my brothers, they had my back all through the rehab, so it's really good to be back out here with them.
It feels like so much is going right for your offense. From your perspective, why is it clicking so well?
Yeah, we've just put in all the work. We have so much chemistry. We have our core group's been together for a while now, and we trust 10, we trust the coaches, and they're putting us in positions to make plays and to get a win.
Thank you, Cole.
Thank you so much.
All right, back to you, Kate.
All right, Claire, it was all Montreal.
Dickinson, he's field side with our Claire Hanna.
Dave, what was your message to your team at half?
Yeah, just keep playing, just try to, honestly, just keep playing. Because, yeah, it didn't go our way. It wasn't a half we're proud of. It says a lot about people if they could just keep playing and commitment level, so we need that.
Some of your veterans on defense stepped up a bit at the end there of the second. Same with your offense. How do you get more of that going?
I mean, we got to just win that play. Don't worry about the next play. Just win that play and hopefully stack a few winning plays and get some touchdowns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Dave Dickinson knows that his team is in tough right now, but there you see Vernon Adams Jr. trying to bring the energy, and it's not exactly a hydration break in terms of a reset, but you do get the sense that sometimes when you have a bad half like that, maybe you just need to go into the locker room and sit for 10 minutes and think about what happened, right? It's a different vibe than being on the sideline.
Yeah, on one hand, you think you want to kind of put it out of your mind and restart this game fresh, but on the other hand, for as many things as have gone wrong for the Calgary Stampeders, or maybe haven't gone right for the Calgary Stampeders, I don't feel like there has been any quit from the Calgary Stampeders. No. You know, they've come back and put together drives, put themselves in position to score, whether they have finished or not, at times when things haven't gone well.
And a moonshot kick here that goes way out of bounds off the foot of Maltos Diaz as one of the lone bright spots. That man right there, Jalen Philpott, we look at his first half action as Jalen doing his best to hold up the Calgary side of the Philpott duel, back-to-back weeks here in Montreal and Calgary.
Yeah, certainly chipping in whatever way he's been able to within this Calgary offense, picking up a couple of first downs along the way, and on the receiving end of Calgary's biggest offensive play of the first half.
Both of the Philpott brothers coming into Week 7 action, leading their respective teams in receiving yardage as well. Inside handoff begins. Dietrich Mills picks up 4, maybe 5 yards on first down.
Well, and I've said it throughout the first half. Lean on Dietrich Mills a little bit, get that run game going, let the offensive line be physical. Try to take advantage of a Montreal defense that may be playing a little bit light in terms of being in pass rush mode, not quite anchored in to defend that run game.
Montreal's first 5 games of the season, all decided by 7 points or less. They did have a big lead on the Stampeders last week, and Calgary battled their way back in. Need to convert here if they're going to do that more consistently. Vernon Adams Jr. pumps, uses the legs, first down, slides down, and he gets the yardage required. VA trying to wake up this offense with his own legs.
Yeah, and a good decision here for Vernon Adams, and a fast decision from VA. Montreal's running a twist up front. He gets pushed, recognizes they've left themselves vulnerable on that offensive right side with the direction of the twist. So as soon as he scrambles out that way, he knows he's running it, no longer looking to throw.
Screen here for Vernon Adams Jr. Gets it out to Clark Barnes. Montreal hunting, trying to knock that out. Maybe just a belief that time from VA and Clark Barnes he can make a little bit of magic. In a one-on-one battle, it goes for 6 yards.
Yeah, a little misdirection on this one with the pullers and the fake run to Dietrich Mills going left. Try and slip it back right to Clark Barnes, but the Montreal secondary not fooled, limiting the gain on that one to about 6.
Vernon surveys the field on 2nd and 4. Hands it off. Mills downhill, got the yardage and more. Finally tackled all the way down at the 21-yard line. Hitting it hard. Dietrich Mills looks like a back that wants more of the football here in this second half.
Yeah, 6 offensive linemen in the ball game. Tight end hitting that one. And we've talked about some of the glamorous things Jalen Philpott has done. How about some of the not so glamorous, getting in as a lead blocker on that one for Dietrich Mills. The little things matter.
Big bump right in the middle of the hole. And helps spring Mills. Now VA over the middle of the field. And that one had to be dug out of the turf. Otherwise, Deshaun Brissett might have been in the end zone. Flag flies. And the offensive backfield, though, and is this one coming back like we saw on another explosive play for Calgary's offense in the first half?
Yeah, I fear this may be against Demery for Calgary. A little bit of a wrestling match with the Montreal defender at the end of this play. Flag came up late. Keep an eye on the matchup. That's Demery versus Guidry.
After the play, 15-yard misconduct penalty. Calgary number 66. First down.
So they give the first down and now mark off the 15 yards. And it sets the football square at the 20-yard line. Get a look at it here, Dwayne.
So keep an eye on the down defender. That's Guidry. A little extra splash.
Stampeders get a score zone trip. The cutback run, Mills turned around after getting to the 15-yard line. Najee Murray right there alongside Theon Hicks.
picks in the lineup. That field corner spot that we have seen occupied the last couple of years by Kabian Ento. The one-game injured list.
And 78 yards already for Dedrick Mills. It's been quite some time since the stands where the Alouettes head-to-head have had a 100-yard rusher. The last was Mills back in 2024. As he looks to add to his tally here, and just basically jumps backwards with 3 defenders hanging on to him. By any means, head that direction for Dedrick Mills.
And I think offensively for the Calgary Stampeders, this is Dave Dickinson and Pat Delmonico kind of getting back to the roots of Calgary Stampeder offensive football, which is built around the run game. They've used that to march the ball down the field. Dedrick Mills in the offensive line setting a new tone here to start the second half.
Kenton Arku, for a moment there, almost able to pry the football loose as it goes back into the waiting hands of Mills, who is inside the 5-yard line on 1st and goal.
Well, the Stampeders continuing to dance with the partner that brought them to this point offensively.
Calgary's last 4 games, they've piled up 166 total points, the most in any 4-game run by them since 2016. As Dave Dickinson trudges down the sideline to get a better look at this one. Vernon Adams Jr. in the gun, looking for the first touchdown of the day. They'll hand it off right at the goal line and into the end zone. Dedrick Mills. It's not broke. Why fix it?
Yeah, exactly. Run until they stop it. And the Montreal Alouettes could not stop Dedrick Mills on the opening drive of this second half. Dave Dickinson.
The previous play is under review. The previous play is under review.
If the touchdown stands, as we take a second look, Dave Dickinson signaled that the Stampeders were going to go for 2. On his way down.
Oh, he kept the elbow up.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, the hip might have been the first thing to touch, but I think the ball might have just crossed that front plane of the goal line before he hits the ground.
Looks like a touchdown from up here. Always amazed, mostly with the receivers in the CFL, the body control, but that's a great example with the running back. The natural human inclination is to just fall to the ground.
Yeah, but hold the upper body up as long as possible.
9 plays, 60 yards for now. It is a touchdown. Tom Valesi, our referee, has the call.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
5.5 minutes on the drive, and they will go for 2. Give it right back to Mills. The rare 2-point conversion on the ground.
It would be hard to resist the temptation.
They do. A message sender from the Calgary Stampeders offense. That man might just get every touch the rest of this ball game if he's going to keep running like this. Dedrick Mills had his first receiving touchdown of his career against BC earlier on this season. But the ground and pound is where he's making his money. '90s too, Dwayne?
You'd have to score touchdowns to know.
There's the touchdown drive. Vernon Adams Jr., great catch by Deshaun Brissett right there, but this is what we saw over and over again.
Yeah, Dedrick Mills, the offensive line, pound the rock. Calgary again getting back to their roots offensively, and it worked pretty well for them to start this ball game. Or start this half, rather.
And he lost a shoe as well. The 2-point convert ran right out of his boot. As Mario Alford returns this kick, did well to field it with a suddenly wicked wind at McMahon Stadium. Flags fly. We will sort that out on the other side as Davis Alexander in absolute control of this ball game. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium as Davis Alexander. Get a look at his work so far here today, and pretty seamless. Paul Lapalisse always talks about how he goes short, deep, hits the home run shot, but it's been a lot of the intermediate stuff today that seems like he's just been picking apart the Stampeders defense today.
Well, Davis Alexander is a guy who has demonstrated throughout his career when he gets into a zone, it doesn't matter where he's throwing the football, and he has been in that zone through the first 30 minutes of this ball game.
Up and down the field. Montreal went through much of that first half. I'll begin with the running attack here. And that one gets stood up quickly right at the line of scrimmage.
And Travis Tice, such a big part of things in the first half of this ball game. A couple of good, hard, physical runs. You know, we talked about Dedrick Mills setting the tone to start this second half. It was certainly Travis Tice dropping the hammer a few times in the opening 30.
100 yards of offense on the dot for Travis Tice as that plays 2nd and 9. And ripping it to the outside, Cole Speaker on the receiving end. Heard from him at halftime, chatting with Claire Hanna, how happy he is to be back in the lineup.
Montreal Alouettes, no doubt happy to have Cole Speaker back, just adding a little more depth to a potent group. Kind of an established number 3, if you will, behind the 1-2 combination of Philpott and Sneed.
Big body as well, right? They don't have a lot of the heavy set guys. Some length adds to the receiving group as they plunge to the left-hand side. Dustin Crum, and now Davis Alexander will return midway through this third quarter, leading 22-11. That Dedrick Mills touchdown and 2-point conversion looming large right now, making this game feel a little bit more manageable for the Stampeders.
We talked throughout the first half about the fact that even at 3 scores, you know, you worry being down 3 scores in the fourth quarter.
Right.
But 3 scores at halftime, by no means insurmountable. And again, especially when you feel like there have been some opportunities offensively to make some plays, you've left something on the table.
Clean sheet so far for both quarterbacks as they'll hand it off, leaning on their ground game once again as the rushing attack of the Alouettes starts to gain a little bit of steam. We saw this early on in the first quarter as well, as Tice with a helmet that has got all sorts of dings and nicks and scratches on it.
Keep an eye here on number 85, Tyler Sneed. We know one of the top receivers in the Canadian Football League. See him getting involved in the blocking scheme a little bit as well. Throwing a pass last week. Whatever you need.
Simon looping through to go find Markel Lee that time as there's a completion, and it is Speaker. And that one will set Davis Alexander into a special place in CFL history as a smooth completion, avoiding interceptions, and now he is standing alone. The active streak rolls its way past Darian Durant for most passes thrown without an interception. All time, incredible stuff from Davis Alexander.
Yeah, absolutely remarkable, doing this basically at the start of his career. But in addition, Marsh, you touched on this as we were chatting before the game, the fact that it's not like he's done this by throwing checkdowns and hitch streaks.
Yeah, the average depth of target still pretty aggressive for Alexander as he hands off inside, but I think I find most interesting as well about this dynamic is we always talk about building quarterback groups, right? When Bo Levi Mitchell was on fire here in Calgary, it was him and Dave Dickinson and John Hoffnagel, and Kevin Glenn's the building, Drew Tate's around, all that. But I'm thinking about Montreal and the fact that Anthony Calvillo rewrote the record books in the CFL. It seems like now he's just going to do it as a coach because he's scheming up the way that Davis Alexander can play, and Calvillo's fingerprints along with Jason Moss are going to be all over the record books as long as Davis Alexander is healthy. Looks to throw yet again, and another completion. Tyson Philpott off and running down the the sideline.
Tyson Philpott serving notice that the horse is not the only quick six in the building. Just a quick out there, make the defender miss. Nice pickup there, and terrific response from the Montreal Alouettes. You look at this drive where they started under the shadow of their own goalposts here into Calgary Stampeder territory and within field goal range.
Philpott's got that look like he's ready to break this game open yet again. Alexander sets him in motion. They'll give him a pop pass. Usually this is a Jalen special, but Tyson gets the touch from Montreal. Defense right there on the spot. Markel Lee, game time decision, feeling under the weather throughout the week, but sprints to the sideline, fired up to help finish off Tyson at the end of this snap.
Yeah, well defended. You saw Charles Riley doing a nice job to fight to maintain that outside leverage, contain position defensively, not let Tyson Philpott get out on the edge where he can really use his speed.
Nice play of the drive here as Tyson Philpott on pace for all kinds of history, thanks in large part to his quarterback now being in the record books for most attempts without an interception. Over the middle, Cole Speaker caught at the 5, in between coverage, and Alexander threads the needle to 17.
Again, speaking to the fact that Davis Alexander hasn't shied away from the tough throws on that interception-free streak of his, throwing this one right down the middle. Cole Speaker going up, making that play in traffic to set the Alouettes up on the doorstep.
10th career 300-yard-plus game for Davis Alexander, 3rd against Calgary and 6th in a row to start 2026. Handoff inside, bouncing off tacklers to the goal line. Touchdown, Travis Tice.
And herein lies the challenge for the Calgary Stampeders. You get a little bit of offense going, but to get back in this ballgame, they got to get some stops, and they have not.
The previous play is under review by the replay center.
Not been able to figure out these Montreal Alouettes offensively thus far. You know, similar to the Mills touchdown, he's on his way down. As he gets to that goal line, does the ball cross that front plane of the goal line before his body's down? I think it does, by a hair.
For now, 10 plays, 101 yards. Tyson Philpott is convinced. And Tom Valesi has the decision.
After review by the replay center, the ball was down at the 1-yard line. Be second down.
Montreal offense will reload. Good eye, Dwayne.
I thought he was in.
It was close. And now Dustin Crum comes in to try and steal all the fantasy points.
Yes.
Travis Tice, I'm sure, wants another crack to get his second touchdown of the ball game. But the architect of this drive, Davis Alexander, will watch from the sideline. The backup quarterback and short yardage specialist Crum in for Montreal. Goes left, gets bumped backwards, and then one-on-one right at the goal line. He got stacked up, but I think he got pushed over the top. Now they'll say touchdown. And Markel Lee and Tyson Philpott in conversation. I think Lee is a little stunned at how the short yardage stacked up. We'll give him 11 plays for the touchdown drive. It took one more extra as the offensive line came to the party just in time.
This was one of the more high event 1-yard runs that you're going to see in the Canadian Football League. Dustin Crum got bounced around a little bit, but eventually found his way to his desired destination, that being the end zone.
More unenviable jobs in the CFL. Stand on the sideline, try to stay loose, for hours since warm-up, and then go in and just thunder your way into the end zone. Dustin Crum has become exceptional at it. A big reason why they brought him in through free agency. Massive humanity in the middle. Crum bouncing off tacklers and a little help from his friends. 29-11. Touchdown drive for the Montreal Alouettes from all the way back in the shadow of their own uprights. Seemed unassuming at the time. A couple of easy completions to Cole Speaker between coverage. Davis Alexander sets the all-time CFL record for attempts without an interception. And then he followed the script and did throw an interception and led a touchdown drive.
And it's one of those drives, because of where it started. If you're Montreal, honestly, you're happy if you get a couple of first downs just to kind of swing the field, not end up giving the ball back to Calgary with an opportunity for them to score back-to-back. You go 100 yards for a touchdown, you're ecstatic.
This one shot low into the turf. Montreal's special teams mixing and matching all of their strategies on the kickoff game is Jalen Philpott. Got more on him when we return coming up in just a second. A familiar connection here in Calgary tying all of this group together. On a commonality that ties so many players here together today, here's Claire Hanna.
Yeah, Marshall, it only feels right to give a shout out to Ryan Sheahan. He's the head coach for the Calgary Dinos football program. He's had an impact on so many receivers in the Canadian Football League, including 4 who are involved with these 2 teams here today. 2 of them, Tyson and Jalen Philpott, played for him with the Dinos, and then with Guelph, that was Clark Barnes and Bashan Genesis. Now, I've asked him, what's it like when you see these guys have so much success at the professional level? And he said, well, through the recruiting process, every player says their dream is to play football after university. So watching them on TSN and just being a little speck of their football journey is so rewarding. But he says it kills him that he can't be here to watch today. He's scouting at the U18 Football Canada Cup in Winnipeg, saying maybe looking for the next Kian Schaefer-Baker or Keandre Smith, 2 other players he recruited, guys.
Yeah, wonderful stuff, Claire. It is a pipeline, and Shane is certainly playing a big role in that as Dedrick Mills picks up right where he left off. By the way, this is just the 3rd drive of the quarter because of runs like that from Dedrick Mills that had on Calgary's possession. Then, of course, it was 11 plays, the touchdown drive in the other direction for Montreal.
Dedrick Mills continues to roll. They get him going downhill on this one. Look at the offensive line, moving bodies off the line of scrimmage. And at this point, there's no element to surprise for Montreal's defense. They know he's coming.
As Vernon looks to throw, and it is Clark Barnes, almost caught it with the fingertips, just rolled off. But that previous play as well, Dedrick Mills against Tyrese Beverette, and just bouncing off one of the best defenders in the CFL out of bounds. As we get a look at Barnes with nearly the highlight grab.
Yeah. He could have just juggled it a little bit higher to give himself a chance, second chance at that one, but good effort nonetheless. Stampeders, after a series of runs, opening it up, trying to take a shot there.
It's always amazing for a field that's so huge, how tiny the difference is between a completion or an incompletion, right? The spot of the football means everything. Vernon tries to put it in the right location here. Right, then back left, then uses the legs. Cuts back, Micah Holloway one-on-one, and the collision is VA leans forward and gets the first down with his legs. 12 yards on the play.
The willingness to sacrifice from Vernon Adams on this one. Recognizes where the first down marker is. The slide isn't an option if he wants to get to that marker. Takes a couple of shots, but moves the sticks for his team.
Blitz coming from the secondary here. Vernon identifies it, throws directly into it. Eric Brooks makes the grab right down around the 20-yard line. And it goes for 7.
Mixing in quick hitters here, but as we talked about, Ryan Sheahan and University of Calgary, University of Guelph, where he's been head coach.
Plenty of production, plenty of talent. I love any time that we have any Canadian university coach chiming in or chatting with us ahead of the draft about their guys. Plenty of great Canadian talent on display here in the CFL. Is a Boschman right there trying to hold off these Stampeders from getting yet another touchdown. Would be back-to-back drives resulting in a major for the red and white. Vernon Adams Jr. ready to try and climb back into this one, but Davis Alexander will have his say when we return. Fourth quarter next on. In the fourth quarter of play, you see the first downs. It was just one in the first quarter, but the Stampeders offense has certainly come to life. 13 over the next 2 quarters here, but the passing yards already across 300, Dwayne, for the Montreal Alouettes, and Davis Alexander, he's in a rhythm. He's trying to find a way to lock this one down again, but it feels like the running backs are going to have more to say potentially in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, Montreal, as they maybe get into a mode of protecting a lead and protecting their quarterback a little bit too, obviously, of putting the ball in the hands of Travis Tice, who's had not a bad day here himself. Dedrick Mills, I think, has been the story of the second half, certainly the offensive story as a whole for these Calgary Stampeders, as he's carried this squad a little bit and created some opportunities for teammates now that as we get into the fourth.
Stampeders into the score zone once again with a 1st and 10 and the 15. And VA probably spent that entire quarter break talking things over with Pat Delmonico and Dave Dickinson. What do they come up with? They'll throw it to the outside, and one-on-one, it's cutting away from traffic. Eric Brooks, touchdown! Kate Burness was asking Dwayne at halftime, where's Quick Six? There's your answer, coming to life.
Quick Six happy to get a little action here in the second half. Brendan Adams zips it in. Good awareness from Eric Brooks as the ball is approaching to recognize exactly what the defender is doing, kind of planning his escape move. That slip back inside.
Good drive. There you go.
Brooks from the Fresno State receiver factory. The likes of Keyshawn Johnson, Carrick Wheatfall here in the CFL as well. Showing that alma mater.
Yeah, big collision in behind the play with an official down here at McMahon Stadium as well right now. Was obviously focused on the tremendous move in the open field away from Robert Kennedy by that man Eric Brooks, but I actually thought there was going to be a flag thrown in the background because I saw this huge explosion of bodies, but it was not player on player behind the play. It was incidental contact.
Oh my God.
And it is Ryan Lang, the field judge, who is somehow up onto his feet, taking a couple of deep breaths, because they don't wear pads. And he took the brunt of that one. But Eric Brooks, wonderful job cutting back inside and just reading the body language of Robert Kennedy as well, as the extra point ready to follow here. And very similar to the matchup between these two teams last week. The margin is narrowed once again. The Stampeders trying to climb up over the top of that 10-point barrier right now. It still rests at 11.
We'll take a look at that latest Calgary Stampeder scoring drive. No surprise to see who starts it off. Dedrick Mills with a big run. Brendan Adams chipping in with the legs to keep that drive moving. And Eric Brooks with a couple of big plays along the way, including the score.
And Brooks paying dividends, given a larger role in the offense. For the Calgary Stampeders, they certainly needed someone to step up with Reggie Begelton still out. And Brooks on the roster. I wonder what the conversations were like, probably in-house, whether it be throughout the winter, getting an idea that Begelton wouldn't be ready for training camp. Of do we go get a guy? Do we need to allocate a little bit of money in free agency here outside of Dejon Brissett, who obviously they brought in from the Toronto Argonauts? And I wonder whether or not Brooks said, guys, I can just be a receiver for you.
Yeah.
Give me a chance.
Yeah, definitely made contributions, big strides for him a year ago that I think created some faith for the organization that he was ready for a bigger role, but a receiving group that's taken some hits over the last couple of years.
Ragatani will hang this one high into the Calgary air. It bounces, tried to be fielded by Jacob Mason, then he has to jump on top. make sure it doesn't get away. It was actually Liam Talbot, now the rookie out of Windsor, getting involved in special teams.
Yeah, it seemed like maybe a little uncertainty at first as to who was going to take that ball.
From the Invitational Combine, I believe, correct, Twain, from this year, Liam Talbot?
Yeah, worked his way into the main combine and into the draft.
With some banged up bodies in that running back room. The Alouettes gets an opportunity. Listed today as the backup to Travis Tice and playing on special teams as well. They'll go back to Tice, who gets pulled backwards. The end of that one, Markel Lee. You wondered about conditioning and being under the weather and the heat. I mean, we can feel it up here in the booth. It is scorching. Anybody who's in the stands right now is just absolutely cooking. And yet there is Markel Lee still play after play after play, getting the job done.
And perhaps getting stronger as this game continues to unfold, leading the Calgary Stampeders in tackles coming in. This is a guy that the Stamps missed after he went down early last season.
Sunscreen at a premium here in Calgary today. Alexander, scorching hot. And maybe too much pace. The rare drop for Tayson Philpott.
Philpott working from outside. Change up in formation, allowing him to use his waggle. But couldn't squeeze that one. So he let it get into his body there as it bounces off the shoulder pads.
And the margin of error smaller and smaller as Calgary gains some momentum, and all it takes is a drop. And Calgary gets possession back. It is a spicy one here in southern Alberta. After a punt of 60 yards, Vernon Adams Jr. ready to turn up. Davis Alexander have the attempts consecutively without an interception. This is VA, most touchdowns thrown to kickoff a year without an interception. Again, clean sheet for the both of them. The only two starting quarterbacks remaining here in 2026 in the Canadian Football League to be able to say they have a 0 on the interception column as VA takes a big hit that time right down Main Street. Was that Nate Boschman? They sent the free safety yet again, and Vernon taking a couple of deep breaths after that one. You can hear the pop from all the way up here.
Well, I love this one from a pure football play, but you're going to see Nate Boschman come from the bottom left corner of your screen, full tilt. VA can see him like he is coming directly at him. He's right in his sight line, so he knows he's going to get absolutely blasted, but he's got to stand in long enough for his receiver to get open to make that throw, and he doesn't.
Toughness not in question from Vernon Adams Jr. on that snap. VA rips this one to the outside. Clark Barnes flipped out of bounds. A flag will fly. Lorenzo Burns on that corner. Decided to go full suplex, and that'll draw laundry every time.
And again, defender sitting off a little bit. Yeah, just that risk. Trying to slamming a relatively defenseless player on the back of their head. I know Burns he's just trying to wrestle this guy to the ground.
Roughness. Montreal number 20. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So big change in field position here. Calgary continues to go downhill. And Noel Thorpe watches on with his defense. Suddenly on their heels just a little bit. Gain of 23 after you factor in the penalty yardage. Alouettes late to the line of scrimmage. Flat line. And they send everybody, and this one skips. That could have been backwards. And a live play, but thankfully for the Stampeders, they'll just call it incomplete.
Yeah, again, Najee Murray coming free off the edge on this one. Right in VA's face. He knows he's got to zip it. And really the adjustment is he's kind of getting that one under Murray's arms, which results in the low trajectory. The one hopper.
Stampeders were 1 of 8 on second down conversions. In this half, 7 of 7. Moving the sticks in this situation. VA knocked away. And Wesley Sutton responsible for the ending of that 100% second down conversion stat line.
Yeah, the pressure package gets it done for Montreal here in the pinch, with the Stampeders starting to develop a little bit of momentum. You know, and one from a pass protection perspective, if you're Dedrick Mills, the running back on that one, ideally, I know he's checking things inside out, but you may want to take that one on closer to the line to prevent that defender from impacting the throw.
Pressure was coming on the kick, but it is away. And big special teams tackle. He seems to always be on the play. Keelan Thomas. CJFLer as the big knockdown from Wesley Sutton. Clark Barnes was open, had a chance.
% off.
Yeah.
Bargain.
Davis Alexander leading 29-18. The Alouettes passing attack. In rhythm, looking down the field here, and a great move on the route, making everything happen as Tyler Snead, as Anthony Johnson goes ripping at the football, almost got it out. But Tyler Snead, the nuances with the way he runs his routes, it's like 3 routes combined into one here, Dwayne.
Yeah, he is smooth and shifty, and definitely suggesting that he is taking his yards after catch bet with Tyson Philpott very seriously. No thought of going out of bounds. He's just running through defenders.
It reminds me of like the old Madden games where you could create your own custom routes. You go, I'm going to run a slant and then up and then out and then up, and then it's like 7 things tied together. How are you supposed to defend that?
Yeah, I'm more of the super Tecmo Bowl generation.
Just pound the rock with Bo. And now Montreal goes back to the ground attack. Inside the 35. And Travis Tice controlling the clock here, leading by 11.
Travis Tice would have been pretty good in Super Tecmo Bowl. People bouncing off and fighting through. The offensive line does a nice job of keeping them pretty clean to the second level on this one. Getting bodies on bodies at the line of scrimmage there.
Calgary's defense on their heels once again. Mustafa Johnson just coming out of the injury tent on the Montreal sideline as well, so getting looked at over there. Keep an eye on that for you. Difference maker in the middle of that Alouettes defense, but it's the ground attack of Travis Tice. And it is playing the lead right now as a flag flies, and looks like, was it a face mask? Awkward tackle. Tice popped up onto his feet, but got a hand up high.
Looked like Rimawade, the primary tackler here. Defensive end doing a good job staying at home, but
the Stampede's over.
A little rodeo tackle there. Horse collar.
Major foul, horse collar. Calgary number 90, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And Miles Brown, who's still being blocked and just grabbing, trying to get a piece of something. And he got the wrong something.
Also, side note, you know how strong you have to be to just make Travis Tice stop in his tracks with one hand on the back of a jersey? I get it's a penalty, but my goodness. Greg Dickinson talks it over with Brown on the sideline. Fresh set of downs for the Alouettes inside the 20. Watches on as once again Tice slammed down with a minimal gain, but the aerial attack of Davis Alexander. Their social media accounts for the Alouettes said this week, all these people are saying, who is him? Everybody's saying, I'm him. Who is him? And they said, well, that's him. Yeah. That's the guy, right? 6 games in a row to start the season, 300 plus.
You heard them in studio earlier today having a discussion about where Davis Alexander ranks among current CFL quarterbacks, and yeah, he's good at football. He's pretty good at football.
He is the guy right now, trying to lock down check down. Jacob Mason already had that 34-yard gain earlier on in this ball game. A helmet came off as well for a player in the offensive backfield.
Holding Montreal number 62. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
The calendar.
He's losing his man inside there.
So the reliable left tackle from the Alouettes sets them back 2nd and 19. Late substitution, Jacob Mason, who just had the catch, fullback, goes to the sidelines. I'll spread it out, see if Davis Alexander can add to his 300-plus tally here in week 7. They set up a screen underneath and almost intercepted. Calgary's defense did a tremendous job of making that as messy as possible.
Well, bending but not breaking. On this drive, you'll see Montreal quick block and swat, set the blockers up out to the left, but they were all over Travis Tice, ensuring that that one wasn't going to come to fruition.
Derek Moncrief might have had the best opportunity at it. As soon as that Alouettes offensive line gives a swim and tries to get upfield, those defensive linemen from the Stampeders are wise to it. Creates the incompletion and a field goal for Jose Maltos Diaz. As that one, an important stop for the Calgary Stampeders. George Idoko got a hand up, and Moncrief all over it. Keeps away the score, 32-18. Don't go anywhere when our game is all done. Kate and the panel will be breaking things down and also setting you up for the Argos and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It's coming up this evening, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. You can catch the game, of course, live on TSN. Is nearly intercepted. Vernon Adams Jr. somehow still sitting with a 0 in that interception column, but Robert Kennedy was on that one.
And we're kind of getting to that point in the game as I've been all about Dedrick Mills and the Calgary run game to this point, but now less than half a quarter remaining. That becomes a less likely option for the Stampeders, down by 2 touchdowns.
I haven't said Jalen Philpott's name in just a little bit as Adams climbs the pocket, takes a big hit as he throws down the middle, incomplete, and flags fly in front of the Montreal bench.
Yeah, the flag was late. I was actually surprised not to see one come up right away.
VA's taken some huge hits today.
We'll see Vernon Adams once again as he steps up, takes a shot from Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund. Brissett coming out of the slot. He's the 3 receiver on this one. Going vertical, and watch, you'll see him kind of get obstructed a little bit. You see the left arm of Beauchemin come out just before the ball arrives.
Pass interference, Montreal number 23. Spot of the foul, automatic first down.
A big flip in field position here in favor of the Calgary Stampeders. Again, trailing 32-18 midway through the 4th quarter. And they've been such a 4th quarter
previous play is under review by the replay center.
Heavy tendency to sort things through later in games. Slow starters for much of this season so far. As Dejan Brissett, you see the one-on-one there that the replay center will take a closer look at with Beauchemin.
Yeah, and I felt like on this play it wasn't so much the timing of him kind of tackling the receiver as the ball arrived, but I thought there was maybe a little bit of a grab on the hip earlier. And perhaps apparently taking a look at the hit on the quarterback to see if there's something else here.
Well, everything getting a bit of a look right now is the play under review.
After automatic review by the replay center, we have a roughing the passer call on Montreal 44. We'll go up another 15 yards, first down.
Wow. Well, this chunk doesn't hurt in terms of penalties when you're trying to overcome the clock and the deficit. So watch, coming from the right side of your screen is Guidry.
Oof.
And threw a little bit of a flipper there, catching Adams' face mask with his elbow. Good detection from the officials.
No doubt. Football operations. We'll be taking a look at that, you have to think, on Monday. Trying to keep quarterbacks safe and in the game, how valuable they are. We've obviously seen with the Hamilton Tiger Cats with Bo Levi Mitchell down. And Zach Collaros as well with Taylor Elgersma and then Drew Brown. So I understand the importance of Vernon Adams Jr. on the field in one piece. I also understand that Dedrick Mills is an unstoppable force, especially on second and medium.
You know, and as I had started to say earlier in this drive about half a field in penalties ago, Dedrick Mills less of an option. But when you get that chunk of yardage without taking time off the clock, suddenly you're back to option one.
Calgary goes quick, in a rhythm. The Stampeders offense is here. VA looks to throw, kind of hooks it around his running back and offensive line. Well, those arm angles you're not going to teach, but sometimes you need.
Yeah, when that throwing lane is obstructed, you need to adjust. VA does it well. Jean Brissett. This is his territory. 4 touchdowns in his last couple of outings.
Yeah, into the end zone. Open receiver. Touchdown. Jalen Philpott.
We're not done. We're not done. We got time.
We're not done. We got time, says Jalen Philpott after the 5-yard touchdown reception.
Let's take a look at this one. They get things protected. Well, nice pickup by Dedrick Mills. Jalen Philpott wide open in that corner of the end zone. We'll call that Philpott corner as the family is in the stands down in that territory.
The best seat in the house. Watch Jalen add to his career tally. Another touchdown on the books. 6 plays, 70 yards. And it ends just like that.
Happy dad. Both the boys playing well.
It'll be a pretty special feeling to watch them not just be in a game, but be playing at a high level. And coming up on 100 yards receiving as well. If this game keeps going back and forth in the final 4:35, you got to think Jalen might get to that spot as Tyson already prepped to get back on the field, add to his stat line on the day as well. I can't imagine what the discussions are like, whether it's the Ford twins, the Philpotts. Like you go home, you try to have dinner, and somebody brings up one play from one game, and you're like, well, yeah, but I saw that from this game and this team, and then it's like the conversation would be never ending, especially when you play the same position for 2 different teams.
Well, you throw Dad Corey into the mix.
Right.
There's a whole lot of games getting talked about.
Dialogue is endless, and maybe that helps add to their experiences. I mean, Talbot fumbling around with the football deep in his own end, wrapped up and thrown down with a flag out.
Illegal block. Montreal number 29. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
You see that the lead blocks just in front of returner Liam Talbot.
Like Mario Alford was blocking back towards his own goal line. Yeah. He's the one that gets caught. A ball at the 5-yard line. And a single score game. Somehow, some way, after the 22-0 opening for the Montreal Alouettes, similar to Edmonton, BC last night. The Lions had an opportunity, despite 4 interceptions from Chase Bryce, to win the football game. Edmonton held on in that one. Calgary trying to protect their home field here with a victory. But flags fly on first down.
Offside. Montreal number 6. That penalty is declined. Second down.
Jalen gets the touchdown and Tyson gets the penalty.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders, with this game as close as it has been since early on. Well, I know, again, off-air, Marsh, you and I discussed Calgary's propensity for the dramatic endings, close finishes this season. A stop here, and they're setting themselves up pretty well for yet another one of those.
A bit of a warrior afternoon from Vernon Adams Jr. You know he's just licking his chops if they can get a stop. Alexander flushed over the pocket, pressure on. Pumps, takes a hit from 2 or 3 Stampeders, and he's short of the sticks. Alexander fired up onto his feet.
Well, Davis Alexander recognizing.
Timeout, Calgary. Can we put 3 minutes and 42 seconds on the clock?
You know, we talk about Vernon Adams and that sacrifice, right? Davis Alexander recognizing that if he goes down with the first tackler, it's a punt.
Yeah.
And Calgary's got the ball probably on your side of the field. Fighting through. We're going for it on third down. Dustin Crum splits out.
This is Travis Tice under center. Bit of a botch snap deep in the row now. There wasn't much push up front. The Stampeders are convinced. And with Tice going under center, it looked like the center got blown right off the football. Get a better look at it here for you. What timing in the middle. Is that Miles Brown?
Absolutely exploding. Disrupting that play. Great effort by Tyso as you saw the legs driving. He managed to recover from that.
Maybe with Tice being the running back, Miles Brown able to jump the cadence, knowing there's not going to be a lot of nuance to it.
Terrific anticipation as you saw how perfect his timing was and how far ahead of everyone else, including the O-line, he was on that play.
Well, hang on now. It looked like it was going to be good based on the spot, but now they have to reset the chains, pull them tight, and just that much. What a stop by the Stampeders. Montreal goes for it deep in their own end. And the red and white have life.
A massive defensive play. And Miles Brown at the center of it. Dave Dickinson on the sidelines, D coordinator Bob Slowick up above.
Challenge flag is out, Dwayne, from Jason Moss, it looks like, on the spot. Or is he looking for the offside?
Montreal is challenging the spot of the ball. We'll review the play.
Oh, this is a tough one to overturn. They're going to have to break down every millimeter of this film. It's amazing that Tice even got the football.
Well, and that he's still on his feet by the time he moves over a gap, given that he's got the center and the defensive tackle blasting forward into his feet.
This will likely be best look at it again. Incredible appreciation for Brown, just blowing up the play.
Just anticipating the snap count.
But where do you put this football when you've already spotted? I mean, the leg's driving there, but when was the whistle? When was the play dead? When was forward momentum stopped? When was the play over? One of the more difficult things to overturn, to assess in the postmortem.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Calgary. Montreal has charged their first timeout.
And something of a gift for the Calgary Stampeders here in terms of the ball on the 15-yard line. 3 minutes to work with.
And now the objective, of course, has to be to finish with a touchdown. Not a field goal. As VA flips it out, Dietrich Mills running free, touchdown Stamps! On a one-play, 15-yard touchdown drive after Miles Brown blows up the third down short yardage sneak.
Turnover happens, go straight for the throat. Vernon Adams to Dietrich Mills. Mills coming across the formation. Looks like he's going to be a blocker, but slips out into the flat. Coverage is late getting to him, and he is off to the races.
Mills almost took those kids' arms off. Swinging for the high fives.
That's how you do it.
And the extra point slides through the uprights here at McMahon Stadium. 2:52 remaining. We have hit the 3-minute warning. Dietrich Mills, first career receiving touchdown earlier this season. Tag on another. High fives.
Nothing doesn't matter. I think OT is looming. By the way, the end of this game, we'll tee up for the next one. It's the Tiger Cats and the Argonauts. Woo!
Overtime.
OT.
Well, it was a close game last week. It was over 30 points for both teams. Oh, look, they played again. We got a close game down the stretch, and they're both over 30 points yet again. Travis Tice, Mario Alford back is Alford miscommunicates, and Montreal falling apart in their own end late in the fourth as Alford gets blown up by Keelan Thomas.
Well, when you look at the fourth quarter of this football game, challenges on their kickoff return team created a little bit of this situation, right? Some miscommunication, mishandling of the football on the last kickoff as Liam Talbot couldn't handle the rock. Had Montreal backed up, they turn over the football, Calgary scores. Notice Talbot's not out there.
Yep.
This time, Tice is back there with Alford. The miscommunication continues, and here we go again.
4-1 Montreal Alouettes in total control of this game in the first half. And now deep in their own end with Davis Alexander trying to rediscover some of that endless rhythm and pace that he had to the game in the first half that's faded here as special teams struggle. The defense can't get a stop.
Yeah, they're just desperately looking to calm the ship a little bit is Davis Alexander in this instance. Particularly coming out of the gate with a run play to Tice.
Alexander fading to his left, now has to go back right. Hamstring looks just fine as DA heads towards the sideline. Flags are down in the defensive secondary as well.
Yeah, given the territory, you kind of suspect illegal contact.
Illegal contact, Calgary number 44. 10-yard penalty. The result is a first down.
Anthony Johnson has the flag go against him. Big collision there. off to the right flats, and Davis Alexander can play quarterback and officiate.
I mean, what's interesting about this, when we talked on a previous Davis Alexander scramble about fighting through tackles, that one he takes a 90-degree turn for the sidelines because he has seen the flag. He knows he doesn't need to run and take a hit.
This one off the hands of Tyson Philpott. Handcuffed him a little bit, low and away maybe, Dwayne, but regardless, they needed that one isolated on a slant against Adrian Green.
Yeah, and he got a good release off the line, a little bit of immediate separation there. You see Green off the ball a little bit, just unable to pull it in.
32-32. 2nd and 10. From their own end, not wanting to give the red-hot Stampeders offense the football back. Alexander extends the play, then finds Tice. Heads towards the Stamps bench, gets pushed out of bounds. But a first down as Alexander goes to rip his running back out to the home team side.
A fortunate escape here, as you're going to see a twist inside. No one really loops back to the outside to protect. That's what allows Davis Alexander to escape. Clarence Hicks was on a twist inside, but no one replaced him in contain. Alexander then able to find Tice, who scoots for the first.
Bit banged up after sliding into the Calgary sideline. So Tice heads to the bench for it now. He'll drop down. Tyson Philpott get old jet sweep around the corner and hacked down at the 55. But a first down on first down, and it counts as more passing yards for Davis Alexander.
And the rookie Liam Talbot comes into the ballgame in place of Travis Tice. Does a terrific job here as the lead blocker as they put the ball into the hands of Tyson Philpott. Kick out there on the corner, Johnson, to allow Philpott to turn it up.
And Alexander taking a second at the end of that play when the tackle was made, kind of squatted down on the field. Not sure if he was catching his breath or the heat starting to get to him. The intensity obviously ratcheting up. You know the heart rate's going. But he took a moment to himself, gathers, called the play in the huddle, and then rifles this one at Tyler Sneed, who's got two defenders all over him, Anthony Johnson and Damon Webb.
I mean, this one was almost like a naked slip screen. Blocker free. This ball gets out there in a hurry. You saw it, running back and offensive lineman kind of sprinting out there late, but they weren't going to be there in time to block anybody.
To your point from earlier, they had the heavy set in. Jacob Mason, the extra offensive lineman, then just rip it. Well, now you go back to the tight end look, but more 5 receiver set. There you go. We'll split Cole Speaker out wide. 3-man rush. Alexander finds the window and throws a strike. Kasim Ferdinand with his first of the day in a big spot.
Yeah, clutch moment here for Ferdinand. Yeah, find that window. Sit it down. A well-placed ball there for Davis Alexander. Nice job by Ferdinand to go get it.
Crowd noise into it here at McMahon Stadium. Alexander drops it down, handoff. Tice bounces off 2 tacklers, and another blocker out in front is Speaker as Tice will rumble. Yards after contact.
Timeout, Calgary. Timeout, Calgary.
That time, 17 big ones, and let's see where the first touch happens on number 5.
Yeah, Travis Tice channeling some of his first half power running here at a critical time for the Montreal Alouettes. And now after a fourth quarter that has been all Calgary Stampeders, a terrific response drive from the Montreal Alouettes in the face of adversity.
And a lot of hands on hips in that Calgary secondary and defensive line right now. Tice and the big bodies for Montreal. The physicality starting to wear on the Stamps up front. And playbook wide open here for Davis Alexander. Fresh set of downs at the Calgary 27. Alexander pulls it, looks to throw. Wide open receiver into the end zone. Touchdown Montreal. Kasim Ferdinand.
Alexander with the escape to buy time. Ferdinand, we hadn't called his name in this veteran Alouette receiving corps all game, but comes up with two absolutely critical plays here in the game's final minutes. And a big go-ahead touchdown for the Montreal Alouettes. Crushing blow for the Calgary Stampeders with 1:04 on the clock.
9 plays, 96 yards. As the extra point, a line drive, and it will not go through. Well, that guy that had his head in his hands, don't go anywhere.
You're going to see Ferdinand coming from the slot. And as this play kind of is breaking down at the line of scrimmage, Ferdinand's just going to slip across the field. You saw Damon Webb kind of pointed at him and then tried to chase him as if he anticipated somebody else being there. There's a bust on the back end. There's absolutely nobody else. Basically from the middle of the field over, nobody else there on the back end. So a miscommunication, missed assignment, whatever you want to label it as, comes at a critical time. And Kasim Ferdinand and Davis Alexander make the Calgary Stampeders pay.
Saw Baron Miles, I believe, down on the sidelines as they came off after the extra point, talking to Anthony Johnson on the play. Johnson looked extremely frustrated. Damon Webb obviously frustrated, so they're debriefing that right now over on the Stamps sideline, trying to sort out exactly what went wrong. But the more important note in the moment is, can Vernon Adams Jr. create another memorable moment here at home? This kick goes over the head, and it skips through the end zone. Not a point. As Vernon warms up that right arm and takes to the field one more time.
He's had a big fourth quarter. The Calgary Stampeders have had a knack for some strong finishes here in 2026. Maybe not ultimately having games come out in their favor, but we'll see what Vernon Adams has up his sleeve here.
BA looks left all the way, then just tries to check this one down. One-handed grab by Diedrich Mills, and a first down on first down. And with those 3 touchdown passes as well in this ball game, Vernon Adams Jr. has tied Ricky Ray for touchdowns to start a season without an interception. He's got 17 now, with 0 in the INT column as Diedrich Mills churning the legs. Ground or air, he gets yards. He's done plenty of that today. 1st and 10. Vernon will sling this one off balance. And again, it's Mills on a check down, and he refuses to be tackled. 41 seconds remaining, and already in Montreal territory.
Oh, this is a massive effort by Diedrich Mills to go get this first down. So you're kind of thinking when he catches this, when he's got a defender in front of him, maybe he's going to head for the sidelines and try and get the clock stopped. But picks up that first down and critical yardage on the play.
Missed extra point. Now seeming very large, especially if they can continue driving the field like this. Pitch and catch, Jalen Philpott.
You'll see Philpott out of the slot. No surprise. Mills and Philpott getting it done here. Deep route on the outside. Takes the corner away. Creates a little bit of space for that out to Philpott. Valuable clock stoppage for the Calgary offense.
Jalen Philpott creeps ever closer to that 100-yard receiving mark. Vernon against a four-man rush, high and away. Incomplete, looking for Tevin Jones with Wesley Sutton there in coverage. 2nd and 10.
They playing 3-down football. Got the clock stopped with the incompletion. No sack, no loss of yards. Obviously not ideal, but in the circumstance, you'll take it in terms of managing this situation for the Calgary Stampeders.
Massive spot here for Vernon Adams Jr. and the Calgary Stampeders offense. They traded for him. It was moments like this. They wanted him at the controls. Trailing by 6, 28 seconds remaining. It's a deep drop for VA. Looks over the middle, pass is knocked down. 3rd and 10 upcoming.
Well, that push from the Montreal defensive line. We'll see Adeyemi Berglund, the former Calgary Stampeder, 1st-round pick, takes the inside rush. You know, and there is no cue there for the tackle. A lot of times if you have someone else pushing out, a D tackle pushing out, you anticipate the loop. He didn't there.
Yeah, look down the middle, comes back to the right, rips it, Brooks makes the grab, comes loose, and the Alouettes are on it.
And a huge break here for the Montreal Alouettes. Quick recognition from Vernon Adams. Hits Brooks, he secures it. You see him bring it to the body, try to turn. And that's when that ball gets popped out. His arm pulled back on the tackle. Watch for it here from Hicks. Comes in, rips that right arm away from the football. Pops it free. The veteran Najee Murray with the recovery to seal the win for Montreal.
A similar script, almost identical stat line as well. So last week, as Jason Moss gets a chance to celebrate, and Davis Alexander, his lone loss on the season, coming in Edmonton in overtime. This time, same province, different results. Was staring down the barrel, Dwayne, of overtime yet again against the Stampeders, but the defense makes the game-changing play.
Yeah, came up huge at a big time when they had a tough go of it, obviously, in the 4th quarter of this football game. Yeah, I think part of the story for the Calgary Stampeders, you look at their season as a big picture, and they've got to be thrilled with the fight in their ball club, that nothing has been insurmountable for them this season. But they're not coming out with as many wins as they would like in close games. They played close games every week, but not getting the victories.
Battle-tested, certainly, are the Calgary Stampeders, but a couple of them left on the table as it stands right now.